Who are you people?
Old man Overstock. I used to watch over our inventory in our distributor's warehouse, and then they said it was time to go, time to move these units on our Kickstarter.
Oh, is that where where you came from? You got shipped here with the Overstock?
Yeah.
Oh.
And who are you?
Oh, I'm Slim.
And you used to run this place.
It's true. I was the founder of Kill Rock Stars.
You still are.
I'm still the founder of Kill Rock Stars. That's right. And I put out a whole bunch of the records until Portia took over about 10 years ago.
And nobody
Now I'm like
wants,
the emeritus.
nobody wants to listen to a guy with a long beard talk about records, so I was thinking I could pass some stuff to you, and you could talk about them.
Cool. There's a lot. I looked at the list. There's a lot of good stuff in the Overstock sale. That's for sure.
We're trying to get some deals. We love these albums, but it's time to say goodbye. Find some homes for them.
What do you got first, old man Overstock?
Is there a kill on Nick Barr shredder ship?
So I feel like there's two categories of stuff in this Overstock sale. Some stuff is the forgotten stuff that's really, really good, but nobody knows about it because the press doesn't put it on like top 100 lists of the best of the 90s or anything like that. So it's sort of forgotten. So this is a chance to hear about some great stuff you might not know about. And this falls in that category. Zach Hill was the drummer in Hella, and Mick Barr was the drummer in, the guitar player in Othram and Octus, bass player, and they did this great collaboration record that is just frantic and crazy, just like those guys. And so if you like Hella or any kind of frantic, crazy music, you really got to check this one out. It's seminal.
I remember they had 5 CDs of it, and you made them whittle it down to one.
That's right, those guys were jamming like crazy. Maybe someday they'll put all the rest of it out on the internet or something.
Let's see what we got here. Thermal's personal life.
So the Thermals were signed on Kill Rock Stars after I had left. Portia Sabin was signed them. Portia and Maggie. Maggie no longer works here. But they're really awesome. They're a Portland band, and Kill Rock Stars started working with them around the time Kill Rock Stars moved to Portland, so it's part of the Kill Rock Stars Portland story. And they're really fun to hang out with. And I remember one day I spent all day in 110-degree heat recording a Tao video, and all the Thermals showed up, and it was really good times. And that's kind of like what their music is like.
Good time, rock and roll. Got this Gossip remix EP.
Yeah.
It's an enhanced CD. There's a video on there.
This is especially great because it has their version of "Are You That Somebody," which is really awesome. But it also has, if you love Listen Up or Standing in the Way and Control, it's got really cool remixes of that. So if you're a Gossip fan, this is a must-have. And since it's a really good deal in the Overstock sale, if you're a Gossip fan and you always felt like, oh well, I'd like to hear that, but it's a little overpriced and kind of out of date. This is your chance to pay a reasonable amount for it and and then you can be a Gossip completist.
Yeah, we have a 4 Gossip CD pack that you can pledge on. It's pretty good. I remember the original Are You That Somebody from the Dr. Dolittle soundtrack. I was like, it's kind of weird that he's talking to animals. But I used to sleep with 120 Zach Hill McBar CDs as a pillow, so...
The Gossip is cool because if it's a 4-pack, then you can see their evolution from a really, really, really primitive garage rock band to the band that did Standing in the Way of Control, produced by Guy Picciotto, that stormed Europe and made them heroes of everyone. All of the records are great through that whole evolution.
Let's go on, dance a little. This CD looks a little weird. Can you tell me about it?
Well, there used to be two labels. There was Kill Rock Stars and there was 5RC. And this has a weird, it's kind of an inside baseball kind of a title. Because 5RC rhymes with by the sea. So sometimes, I think we had a different record called 5RC by the Sea. And then this one is Sur la Mer, which is the French. 5RC is 5 Rue Christine, so it's actually French in the first place. And Sur la Mer is the French way of saying by the sea. So this is the Sur la Mer, Sample la Mer. And really, I was just looking at this, and it's incredible how good the 5RC label was. I mean, of course, I think so because I signed those bands, but The Robot Ate Me, Shoo Shoo, Slim Moon and Wet Army, No Neck Blues Band, Amps for Christ, Deerhoof, who are like the greatest band ever, especially, I can easily say they were the greatest band of the 90s. Hella, The Planet The Meishi, The Advantage, Deerhoof, more Deerhoof, Need New Body, Wooden Wand. This is one hell of a record. If you have any interest in 5RC, but you feel like you can't buy all 30 or 40 5RC records that came out, this is a way to get exposed to all of it, to all of the different bands in one cheap shot, and you will love this record, I promise.
Let me put that in select.
Slim, why is the
CD
label called
mystery
5 Rue
box.
Christine?
The label was called 5 Rue Christine because Gertrude Stein famously said that if the 20th century hadn't happened, it would be necessary to invent it. And 5 Rue Christine was the last address of the last place that Gertrude Stein lived in Paris.
Oh, that's weird.
And her saying if the 20th century hadn't happened, it would be necessary to invent it, was a reaction to somebody else saying if God didn't exist, it would be necessary to invent God.
Oh.
Yeah, probably.
Wild.
Nietzsche, Portia says.
Wild stuff. Oh, well, I remember talking in my last video about how I sleep on 60 boxes of this, but I'm sure you have some insight into horse feathers this whole spring too.
Well, I'm a fan. Horse Feathers got signed to the label after I left, but I really think Horse Feathers is the perfect Kill Rock Stars band that really sort of captures everything that Kill Rock Stars is about passion and quality and personal eccentricism, with listenability and creativity. I really just think that this is one of the greatest bands that Kill Rock Stars ever worked with, and every single thing they have ever done is just magical.
Justin's pretty nice.
Oh yeah, and that's exactly. I forgot that part. Part of the reason is what Kill Rock Stars is all about is that Justin is really nice.
Nicest dudes in the biz.
Yes.
Can you tell us about Stereo Total? That's also in some select mystery CD packages.
This band is so weird and great. They have songs in like 5 different languages. A lot of songs in French, German, and English, but then a few other languages. All of their songs are super simple. Like if you believe in it has the 2 great things about punk rock. One is simplicity and DIY. They write songs that anybody could write, but they do it with panache and swagger, which is the other aspect of punk rock. The 2 great things about punk rock is simplicity and swagger, and this band has it 100,000%.
Got some Kurt Braunohler comedy CDs. Funny guy.
So I love that Kill Rock Stars has been putting out comedy, and this was the first comedian to come out on Kill Rock Stars. He's the guy who got the ball rolling, and he's super funny, and someday he's going to be the king of late night television, and you can say that you were into him before he was the next Jay Leno.
Mine is
So-
Overstock.
Totally got to get this one.
Pretty good. The Advantage. Got some Advantage CD packs. Both their albums for $10 on compact disc.
So somebody reminded me that this artwork was very controversial even within the KRS Stars and 5RC family when it came out. I'm kind of shocked that I let it go. I don't remember the decision-making process that we didn't send this back to the band and make them redo it. But but nevertheless, the Advantage were really, really terrific, very technically precise, but still spirited punk rock versions of Nintendo
System.
of songs from different Nintendo games from the classic Nintendo era. So if you're a gamer or you like sort of punk rock, prog rock, you gotta check this out.
When I was in the warehouse, with all the Overstock, I had a little Nintendo, and I'd blow into the cartridges, and then I'd just put on the CD, and I couldn't get it to work.
I had
hundreds of them.
Well, sorry to interrupt,
It's
Mr.
okay.
Mr. Overstock. I had 5 dreams because I wake up every 2 hours at night, and every time, as I was waking up the other night, I had 5 dreams about how I worked at a place that made playground versions of video games. So like we were trying to make up like a playground version of Angry Birds and a playground version of Pac-Man and a playground version of Halo to get kids to play on the playground and burn themselves out by convincing them that they were playing video games on the playground. And I just realized that the Advantage would be the perfect soundtrack for those games. Now we lost Old Man Overstock.
He's gonna bring you about 30 CDs.
Okay.
In the spirit of our Overstock sale, so I bring box of.
I don't think we've mentioned it, but I think people can ask questions if they want
I think we'll
in the chat bar.
figure this out.
Are there any questions?
Oh, we got a question on
What's your
Facebook.
question?
What was the name of the band you described as punk rock simplicity, DIY ethic, and swag?
Stereo Total. There's just 2 people. Bretzel,
Francois Cactus,
Francoise, and Bretzel?
and yeah.
Yeah, Francoise and Bretzel. And they're from Berlin and Paris, and they've put out like over 10 records. Most of them are on KRS Stars, and they're all really great.
Got this Shoo, a promise.
What controversy?
Controversial.
Oh yeah, this is a great Shushu record. Shushu was one of the great bands on 5RC that I really feel proud to have been able to work with. But this was a photo that the printer refused to print, and our distributor warned us that a lot of stores wouldn't stock because originally it didn't have this little orange box covering this guy's privates. And I do remember going back to the band. Our distributor said, we'll still sell it if you want, but we're just warning you it's going to hurt sales. We went back to the band and said, we'll still put it out if you want. It's your choice. And in the end, after carefully weighing everything, the band decided to put the orange box over it. But I feel proud that we stood by the band and decided to let them make their own decision of like weighing their artistic integrity against their commercial viability instead of forcing them to put that on there. But I think a lot of their fans still thought the label probably forced them to do it.
Remember Amazon recently complained about it too.
Amazon complained about
So
it
we made the box
a little
a
bigger.
few pixels bigger for the digital version. And then
Wow.
I made my own personal version with the Amazon logo over it.
What's next? Old Man
Good
Overstock?
times.
Regular question.
Friend Maggie.
I just think that if that if you don't like Deerhoof, you don't like music.
Would you
That's
say you can eat shit?
I've heard people talk about how Deerhoof sucks, and their arguments always come down to they don't actually like music.
Somebody's asking how old is Old Man Overstock?
What?
So we got a question. How old is Old Man
Oh, yeah.
Overstock?
How old are you, old man Overstock?
How old are you, Old Man Overstock?
Old enough to know I shouldn't be saying my age on video streams in case somebody wants to steal my identity. Ruin my credit score. Nice.
You have credit?
Well, when I was living in that warehouse, I had to do a few online shipments for clothes and food. I was using Postmates a lot.
I just figured you bought a square inch of land in the Yukon 150 years ago that now there's an oil mine on, and that you're actually rich.
I left a few times to see some bands play. I saw the Meishi, they were jumping up and down like a bunch of weirdos. They're all right, if you ask me. Marnie Stern's self-titled album. We got some Marnie Stern CD packs and some Marnie Stern LP packs, and we're going to be putting some in select mystery CD packs.
I realize I am authentically a big fan of a lot of bands on this label. I really think that Marnie Stern should. Well, you're giving me really good stuff too. I really think that Marnie Stern should be winning Grammys. I think that I understand that some of the Kill Rock Stars and Five Step stuff is obscure because it's just too hard for people to understand, and only the people with the smartest ears are going to get it.
Like me?
But Marnie Stern she's got it all, and she should be a household name. And it's criminal that she isn't playing the Grammys and winning awards, and that she's not a judge on American Idol.
Should I call the cops?
Yes, but she is in the band that plays which late night show?
Seth Meyers.
She's in the Seth Meyers late night
The
band,
AG band.
which she wasn't back in the days when we signed her or anything. So some things have happened great for her. But she will go down in history. I swear, 100 years from now, she might be the only band on our label that people remember.
You blew it. Didn't buy her album. Still
Because she
have time.
invented a whole new way to do pop music, and that is hard to do. That is hard to do,
the DIY
especially with
shredder.
guitars. It's most of the innovation in pop music in the last 30 years has been with synthesizers, or in rap or in pop. It's been very technologically based. But she invented a whole new way to do pop music with drums and guitars 50 years after, even after people had already been trying to find all the ways to do pop music with drums and guitars for 50 or 60 years. So that's just incredible, innovative achievement. Plus, the songs just get caught in your head. Stuck in your head.
I played it for my son. He was like, "Old Man Overstock, this is weird." I said, "Go in your room." The kid's all right though. Cor Tucker Band. 1,000 years. Sometimes I feel like I'm 1,000 years old.
So way back in 1991, I'll tell this little story. Way back in 1991, the first thing that really brought attention to Olympia happened. It was the International Pop Underground Festival. And the people from K Records invited bands and fans from all over the world to come to this festival. But just before the festival started, K Records realized that they didn't have enough women-fronted bands, and so they threw together, in short order, a girl night the night before the festival started, where some female-fronted bands played, and Heavens to Betsy played, and I had never heard of them, and I just showed up to girl night because I wanted to support women. And as soon as Corin started singing, I was absolutely floored. I'd never heard anything like it. She was still in high school, but her passion and talent, her voice just could do nothing except, there's no way you could be immune, that it was going to raise the hairs on your skin and give you goosebumps and change your life. And I still think Corinne still has that effect to this day. Her music is just chilling and beautiful.
Still rock and roll, and you should add that album to your library. We have some Corin Tucker CD and LP packs. If you look on the right hand side of our Kickstarter, you can click add it to your library. These albums are good, but the boss says it gotta go. If you know, it's just weird. This world's old and confusing, trying to adjust.
I think one thing that people don't understand about the concept of Overstock is that Overstock isn't necessarily records that nobody wants. Those are cutouts. Overstock is records that people want, but that just too many got made, and so the label ends up in the position of having to decide whether to store it for a long time. Like the label knows the CDs and records are gonna get sold because they're still the records that are still in demand. But it's going to take a while to sell them, and they have to make the decision whether to store them for a long time or whether to sell them at a lower price. But they're not cutouts. They are not records that nobody wants. These are all records that are still loved and in demand.
I love them. That's why I have so many of them. Well,
Well, exactly. I mean, the reason so many got made is because the label knows that people want them.
I mean, that's one of the reasons my wife and I broke up. Is I had like 30,000 CDs piled up, and some of them killed one of our kids.
I didn't know you were married, old man Overstock.
I was.
Oh.
Those were some of my best years.
Did you
Have some regrets.
Did you homeschool at the warehouse?
Oh, we had some Wi-Fi, had some online courses for the kids. I moved out. One of my kids is helping me with my new iPhone. Getting some music on there. Anyways, tell us about this.
So, towards the end of the time that I was running Kill Rockstars, I started managing bands, and the first band that I managed was Laura Veers. And this fan wrote a letter to Laura Veers saying, if you ever come play in Virginia, maybe you could let my band open. And but she sent a copy of her CD, and that was Tao, and I really loved her first CD. So the next time I was in Washington, D.C. for a convention, I asked Tao to meet with me, and I asked her all these questions about how serious she was about her music, and I decided she was serious, so then I started becoming her manager. And then eventually I went to a different job and couldn't be her manager anymore. But Portia had the good sense to sign Tao and her band to Kill Rockstars. And that's how that happened. And once again, a huge fan. There are records just as good as this record, but there really aren't any records better than this record.
You heard it here first. I should grab some more CDs, huh?
Do we have any other questions?
Or do we have any
None
more
here. Do we have any
questions
Facebook
to
questions?
answer?
Okay. It's because everybody already knows everything they need to know, right?
That's because we got these albums.
Do you want to go get some more Old Man Overstock?
They're great. Yes, I do.
Why don't you tell us about how Kill Rockstars got started?
Oh, that's the most... I'm sorry. I feel like everybody in the world who wants to know must know by now how Kill Rockstars got started. But I'll try to say it in case you don't know, or maybe there'll be something in the story you haven't heard before. Kill Rockstars was actually started to put out spoken word 7-inches. Because in the 80s, there were lots and lots of 7-inches, lots of 7-inch collectors. And there was an aesthetic of, the perfect pop song, the perfect 3 minutes, or the perfect 4-song EP on a 7-inch. And I figured that I really liked spoken word, but there were all these albums of spoken word coming out. And an hour of spoken word a lot of times is just like, oh, no matter how good it is, it's too much. And I thought, spoken word would be perfect in 3 or 4 minute little bits. It'd be great. And then people always made mixtapes for their friends or for, love interests and things like that on cassettes of all their favorite 7-inches. And I thought throwing a cool spoken word piece in the middle of some great indie rock songs or some great punk rock songs would be perfect. And so that was my original idea. It was also because I was making more money working for the state than I had ever expected to make in my life, which means a lower middle class income. But having grown up pretty poor, even like that seemed like, God, I can't believe how much money I'm making. So it was also sort of a guilt thing. Like, if I put out spoken word 7-inches, I'll definitely lose lots of money, and then I won't have to feel guilty. But then I got talked into putting out rock records, mostly because, my reasoning was, Sub Pop was really the only viable record label that was documenting bands in the Pacific Northwest, and Sub Pop was ignoring some very good bands. And so it seemed like somebody else had to come along and put out the bands that Sub Pop was ignoring.
What about K Records?
Well, at the time, this is, it's sometimes hindsight makes things look different, or what happened after makes things look different. But at the moment that I decided I needed to put out a label to showcase Northwest bands, K didn't have any Northwest bands on their label other than Beat Happening, which was the owner's band. They had bands from New Zealand and bands from England and bands from Eugene, but they didn't have any bands from Olympia at the time.
Yeah.
But during IPU, when I first started putting out rock records, K suddenly had 4 Olympia bands signed to their label. So only a month after I decided, somebody needs to put out other bands, K did start putting out other bands. And then I ended up put out bands from England and Japan and all over the world as well. So the reason for the label evolved, but the original reason on the day I decided, okay, I'm going to switch from doing just spoken word to doing rock, was really because there were great bands in Washington State and Portland that I knew Sub Pop was either going to never sign or, I had lived next door to Kurt when they were trying to get signed to Sub Pop, and I had watched how Sub Pop was really unsure and forced them to put out a cover song on their first 7-inch, and then always prioritized Mudhoney's releases and Mudhoney's tours because they didn't really believe in Nirvana, and so I didn't believe in Sub Pop's good sense about who were the really good bands in the Northwest.
Who were Nirvana again?
That's just the truth. Lots of water under the bridge since then. Lots of times when different labels in the Pacific Northwest have been signing great bands, and Sub Pop has signed great bands. But at the time, having watched what Nirvana went through with Sub Pop, I felt like a band like Unwound really needed a better champion.
We got these 10 CD mystery packs. I don't know what's in it. Probably some good stuff.
Mystery pack.
Sounds,
How can you resist a mystery?
sounds a little scary if you ask me, but what do I know? I've been sleeping on boxes of records. My wife left me, so. Quasi American Gong. What do you think about them?
Well, I love Quasi. My greatest regret from the time when I was running Kill Rockstars and 5RC is that when Sam Coombs from Quasi was playing bass in Heat Miser, he gave me a copy of the recording for the first Quasi album, but he had a mustache. This is so embarrassing, but he had a mustache that didn't seem ironic, and I was like, this has got to be terrible because that mustache dude is giving me his demo. So I didn't listen to it. And then when it came out on Up Records, it was one of my all-time favorite albums from the Pacific Northwest, and I loved it so much, so hard the first time I heard it that I know if I had listened to the demo, I would have signed them.
Talking about
Or I would have tried to sign them.
R&B transmogrification?
It was, yes,
Wonderful.
R&B transmogrification. But
It's
that was their
pretty
first
good.
great record, and they've done many great records since, and this is one of them.
That's the only one that's a 3-piece.
This is the only one that's a 3-piece, says Old Man Overstock. I believe it.
Pretty good.
And, Janet Weiss is Don't slouch. She's a super, super great drummer.
Sorry for slouching.
And she's a drummer with musical ideas. She doesn't just make other people's songs sound great by playing great drums. She contributes to every band she's in great musical ways.
You say she's one of the best in the biz. That's what I like to hear. We got Survival Knife 7-inch.
So you know what? I have to admit that I haven't heard this.
Well, I can tell
Record.
you about it.
Yeah, you can tell us about it all.
Well,
I mean, I know it's got Justin and Brant from the original lineup of Unwound, but I don't know. I haven't heard it. I've been meaning to listen to it. That's
so
my true
you
confession.
can have that one.
Thank you.
Because I got 200 of them. Pretty good. And we got some 7-inch packs available on the Kickstarter. And maybe you'll get that. It's some rockin' and rollin' numbers. I like it. I think you will too. We got the Talamura record.
Well, we've gone over half an hour.
Tell us about Tal. Can you tell us about her collaboration with Mira on 13 songs?
Well, Mira was a longtime artist on K Records, which were the two main record labels in Olympia were, before Kill Rockstars moved to Portland. The two main record labels in Olympia for 15 years were K and Kill Rockstars. So Tao and Mira is kind of a meeting of artists from those two labels. Mira is just another great singer-songwriter. Although when you hear, even to this day, sometimes people react to the term singer-songwriter as if it's like Gordon Lightfoot. But all singer-songwriter means is a solo artist who writes their own songs. Those didn't really exist before Bob Dylan, and then they've become almost the norm. So I'm getting in the weeds here, but it's really, saying the word singer-songwriter isn't really telling you anything about what it's going to sound like. It just means it's a solo artist who writes their own music.
Like the first Mary Stern album could be classified as
Exactly.
singer-songwriter.
Exactly.
And track 11 on that record was, the track called 11, was produced by Meryl Garbus from Tune Yards.
Yes.
It was an amazing collaboration in and of itself.
Well, the whole record is produced by Meryl, Tao, and Mira. And it was actually, I will give you some background. This was really supposed to be originally thought of as a collaboration of Mira, Tao, and Meryl. But Meryl, Tune Yards was kind of blowing up right at the time this got recorded, and Meryl stepped back because she knew that she wouldn't be able to tour with these guys. So she, even though she was a huge contributor to this record, she ended up not singing any lead vocals and not tour, so that she wouldn't be the missing artist on the tour to support the album.
And I feel like I should clarify that the track 11 has nothing to do with the character from Stranger Things. Although, be careful when you're listening to this, because you could flip your car. Keep your eyes on the road. Finally, we got...
Their voices and their songwriting go together, complement each other really, really well. And the contributions they give to each other's songs show what great musicians these two songwriters are. A lot of times people think of singers as being lesser musicians than the sidemen that play on their records. But that I love collaborations like this that show that just because somebody is the front person and writes the songs doesn't mean that they aren't a great guitar player, playing a melody line or some other thing on somebody else's song.
I always thought it was weird that records have lyrics but not sheet music. But like I said earlier, there's a lot I don't understand. And last, I got this New Bloods album, Secret Life.
I would say that most of the bands, when I left the label, Kill Rock, 5RC shut down, but some of the great 5RC bands switched and were then signed to Kill Rock Stars after that. So Kill Rock Stars had some 5RC-ish bands and some Kill Rock Stars bands, but over time, it's kind of evolved so that Kill Rock Stars really just has Kill Rock Stars type bands on it, mostly. But New Bloods was a signing after I left, signed to Kill Rock Stars, who would have happily made sense as a 5RC band back in the heyday of 5RC. So if you like that kind of thing, go for it.
Pretty good. I like it. Oh, luckily we have more of this.
Careful with the overstock.
Yeah.
That's why it's part of the sale. Did we have any more questions?
Some comments.
All right, comments.
Comments?
The Tao and Mirror album is amazing.
Whoa.
And
That's,
the Mean Rockstar 7-inch changed Joel B's life.
Oh,
I'm
awesome.
glad you started the label.
Changed my life too.
whoa.
Thanks.
Pretty cool. Well,
I think it changed a lot of lives. I mean, it was the first thing that Kathleen Hanna ever put out.
was it before the Suture 7-inch?
Yep.
Oh.
Well, yeah. She was not in. She had never been in a band when that came out.
Oh.
She got into bands afterwards. So I couldn't say for sure that it contributed to Kathleen having the vision that she could be a performer that led to Bikini Kill and everything else, but it might have contributed.
Well,
Just like my ability to do math probably contributed to me being able to run a record label.
well,
That was random.
I feel like this is, I feel like my ability to be around hundreds of thousands of boxes of records has contributed to my ability to grow this beard. Well, I hope that you all visit our Kickstarter and buy some of this Overstock. I think it will change your mind and expand horizons, and also just been worried about people getting crushed by these falling boxes. And yeah, thank you. Do you have anything else to say, Sam?
I want to finish one thought that I said. I feel like there's two kinds of things in the Overstock, and I never said the second kind. In this Overstock sale, there's a bunch of things that are sort of forgotten because they've been overlooked, or because not everybody can remember all the great records from 20 years ago, and they are worth digging into and checking out and getting your mind blown by. But then there's other records like the Talon Mirror record and the We Brave These Things at All, and they're just great bargains because these are still great bands that are around today that everybody knows are still going on to greater things and that are really hot current bands. They just happen to have overstock of these records. So that's the other category. And I'm going to drop everything here.
Well,
Thanks, you guys.
would it be the first time a CD or record's been dropped in the world?
Thanks, old man Overstock.
Oh, yeah, thanks for coming.
Bye.
Thanks for watching our video.